Welcome back. We're still talking with women, and this time we're talking with Ms. Nihilola Adeyemi. She's the founder, CEO of Secure Ops Solutions, LLC. She's right here in our Lagos studio. Thank you so much, madam, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
One of the things we try to highlight is celebrating women who are in spaces where are dominated by men. So let's begin from that natural question. Where you are, is it really dominated by men? Because we've spoken with cybersecurity experts here that are female. So in terms of critical mass, women, how are they doing in coming up within that space from where you sit?
All right, that's an excellent question. So again, tech generally is being dominated by men, assumption, right? And it's sad that we have very few women on board. We have about a little bit over 26% of female in tech as we speak all over the world.
26 is good.
26% is nothing.
50-50, right? No,
I
was even thinking of less.
Yeah. So, I mean, so it's so sad. And we have even a lot lesser in cybersecurity because a lot of female feel, oh, cybersecurity is quite tough, you know. But there are areas in cybersecurity that are non-code. So I think the reason why most women are afraid of getting into tech is because of the code. You know, oh, I don't want to code, I don't like mathematics, I don't like, you know, equations and all of that. But there are areas in cybersecurity that are non-code and they're fun to be. So in that space, I think we need to do more.
Which area is that?
The cybersecurity.
I mean, which area of the cybersecurity
is non-code. Okay, yeah. So like the GRC.
You want to win more people for your space.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. I mean, I'm an advocate of more women in tech, you know, and coming to cybersecurity will be excellent because we all need to secure our
So help us deconstruct that perception using these non-coding elements of cybersecurity.
All right, so we have areas like the governance, risk, and compliance. It's called the GRC, you know, where you talk about the policies, the governance, you know, ensure that the environment is secured and all of that. And you don't have to code, you know, and it's that easy as long as you can write, you enjoy writing, and you have eyes for details. That's it. That easy.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy, that's it.
It's interesting to see, you know, many more women taking up an interest, a genuine interest in, you know, tech and cybersecurity. We had the other day a conversation with a mom who is, you know, putting together a group called Coding for Moms, you know, and she's achieving success in that field. But despite the many success stories that we're recording in, you know, the cyber security field, there are also some challenges. And I'm sure that, you know, you're not oblivious to some of them. We've had increasing syndicates of cybercrime, you know, taken out by the EFCC. And we're seeing that majority of them are, you know, not from, you know, these parts. They're expatriates. What are your concerns in this field?
I think, I mean, that's also an excellent question. So for me, I think it's awareness. People don't even understand what's going on. And the awareness around cybercrime is so low, you know, especially in Nigeria. So it's high time we start talking more about cybersecurity, start talking more about cybercrime. So people are conscious, they know what to check, what not to check, what to expose and what not to expose, how to guide their assets. You know, personal assets, information assets, and not throw themselves out there. Because when you're vulnerable, that's when the bad guys can come in. So for me, I think the society, you know, we have to start from individuals. We need to start talking about it more. Corporates need to start talking about it more. The government needs to start talking about it more. You know, there should be adverts around where people, they kind of tell people what's going on around, you know, and how they can secure the environment.
So despite, doesn't it speak to a certain level of expertise, you know, technical know-how in the cyberspace in Nigeria? Because the numbers of the expatriates that are currently being tried is quite worrying. So how can we deploy that technical know-how, that energy positively?
Unfortunately, most of the tech people are out of the country, you know, especially cybersecurity. I can tell for free that female cybersecurity, to start with, are very few in Nigeria right now. You know, I don't have the numbers because I tried to do the research, but I mean, most of them are abroad, you know, and for some reason, because the society has not embraced technology that much. They see technology as a cost center rather than a solution center. So it's always difficult for people to, put in money where, it's supposed to be. You see an organization start and when you tell them about cybersecurity, or you tell them about tech, or you tell them about automation, the last thing they want to do is spend money there. They rather spend money on adverts, and you're wondering what's going on. Aren't you supposed to secure your environment? So for me, I think it's very important for us to make sure that we, encourage people to come into that field. If we have more people, I'm sure we'll be able to kick out all the bad guys. And the ones that are there right now, we can actually turn things around. Invite them in, change their orientation, let them understand the benefits of being a cybersecurity expert or being an ethical hacker as against being an unethical hacker. But again, society needs to work hard on that. I wouldn't say government now, we have to start as individuals.
And I'm curious to know how to start. For people who always say, yes, rightly so, government should take the lead. Yes, there's a big role that government has to play. But sometimes when it looks like government is not taking initiative, sometimes the people have to take it and then government will catch up. You have some economies that were built by individuals, just thought, let's come together and make this work, right? And it looks like that's where we're at as a nation. I want you to speak to how we can harness the population we have. Because some of the big tech companies now, China, they're able to harness population. India, able to harness population. Even America, in that sense, is also able to harness population, and the fact that it's always forward-thinking, it's open, and all of that. You hear that China has come up with not just DeepSeek, but Manus now, even though Manus is a bit controversial, exactly what it can do or how strong it is. But the point is, it's making the news, and it's getting all the countries scared that, wait a minute, China is taking the lead. So for Nigeria, because we're still talking about insecurity, we're talking about, gender-based violence and all of those allegations here and there, things that seem a bit mundane. How do we as a nation begin to harness what we have to take the lead when it comes to technology?
Thank you. I mean, that's so interesting. So for me, I've always dreamt of when we're going to have another Silicon Valley in Africa. Of course, obviously in Nigeria, And how can we do that? We have to start from kindergarten. We have to start teaching our kids what cybersecurity is, what technology is, as against giving a 10-year-old a phone, and he probably doesn't even know, he or she probably doesn't even know, the risk in having that phone. But they just feel, look, you need to have this phone so I can know where you are, I can, call you, I can find out what's going on at the home front. And it's so sad that most parents don't even pay so much attention to it. They don't understand the impact of it. So, and it's getting worse, unfortunately, especially with AI. AI is doing quite a lot, helping us in cybersecurity space, but it's also doing quite a lot with the bad guys, So they're using AI to do a lot of things. You find out there's been situations where, just like we are right now, the bad guys can actually take this scenario and put it in another form and say things that we didn't talk about, But if you don't understand the impact of security, there's going to be a vulnerability in that aspect. And something else I've noticed, right? I think that's why I'm not too into government needs to do this. We have to start as individuals. So you go to an organization, for instance, and when you're at the security post, they tell you to write down your name, your contact, and all of that. And my question is always, what do you need that information for, right? And the information is exposed. So the next person that is coming into that organization is actually going to see my details and can use that details for anything. Yeah. So what are we doing as, individual, as organizations, before we even get to the government? We need to start that awareness. We need to start, talking to people and let them understand the impact of exposing your information asset. I mean, my name and my phone number might be my information asset that I want to secure. Why would I have it exposed? Where do I know that piece of paper I'm writing my details in is going to? Who's going to have access to it? So there's a lot we need to do around awareness, and I'm hoping that places like channels will do more of this, so people can understand the impact of giving the information, the impact of exposing the information, and the impact of getting hacked.
Okay, so one of the things I discovered, you talked about a lot of people in cybersecurity leaving the country, perhaps is reward for their expertise not being as commensurate as they should be. So everybody would like a greener pasture. But there's a practical one I would like you to speak to. How do we repurpose Yahoo boys in Nigeria?
Excellent.
There are lots of Yahoo boys. OPIC, Isheri, VI. There's
other states,
let's stay with where I know the most. The number of Yahoo boys driving GLK and all, it's a big industry. I know that the EFCC has been trying to repurpose them, but what will be your own view as a repurposing Yahoo? Because it looks like they're beating the system every other day.
Absolutely. I mean, if I have the power and, if I can turn things around, which I hope I will be someday, all I have to do is to just get these guys, let them understand how they can help the society and how they can make money out of it, even much more than what they're making right now. So I think the problem right now is the society or the country does not appreciate tech people. They're the less paid, they're the less, appreciated. You can be on that particular role for God knows how many years, as long as you're not bringing the money into the organization, they're not seeing the productivity, because what we offer is service, right? So it's always difficult to appreciate them, and that's why they would rather want to go out of the country or probably do Yahoo, just like you said. But I mean, I think the right thing to do is actually to get these guys together, start talking to them, mentor them. I mean, that's one thing that we don't have in this country. It's not well established.
Sorry, I don't want to break your line of thought. I'll give you a practical example. I grew up in the Niger Delta, and I'm going to give you a clear scenario. When you see these boys who are doing bunkering, when I used to live in the Niger Delta, the money they make, I don't know who is going to pay them that kind of money. So for me, when I see Yahoo boys today, it reminds me of the 90s and the early 2000s when you see this. When bunkering, it's still there. It's a new name now, it's a modernized name, oil theft, but there they use the word bunkering a lot. So these boys, they do whatever it is they want to do, and make a lot of money. I don't know who's going to be able to pay them to say, let's repurpose you, and you can have a normal life. For them, that normal life is the big bucks. That is exactly what's going on with the Yahoo boys. How do you reorientate somebody who will say, he makes $20,000 in a month, stealing people's money? How do you want to repurpose that kind of person in practical terms, beyond talk?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible if the country is actually looking towards having like a tech hub in Nigeria, like a Silicon Valley. And what do? You invest more in infrastructure, tech infrastructure, you invest more in AI, and you bring these guys in. Tell them you're ready to pay them double, because by the time we automate the system, we have a smart city, we have smart country, you can imagine what's going on in China right now. And they know that they're well paid. Come on, a lot of them will want to drop it. They're actually doing it because they don't have a choice. They know if they go out there, they probably won't get the job, and so most times it's not really about the money, it's just they need to sustain their lifestyle. But if you give them all the perks and let them understand that, look, if you get into the system and we work together and Nigeria becomes, we have a better economy, I mean, everybody's going to live good. So getting them together, having that reorientation and also mentorship is really going to go a long way.
Well,
we should add more time.
It sounds simplistic. I wonder if the system is going to be ready at once, to be able to expand that much and be able to afford to, to pay them double of what they're earning. But it's an idea worth exploring. You said something significant earlier on about how, the practitioners themselves need to take initiative rather than waiting on government. And, Jeffrey's reference to the oil sector, immediately comes to mind. If we must take the lead in tech, why have we not deployed tech, for pipeline surveillance, so to check crude oil theft? Why have we not deployed tech to, check security breaches, for instance, drones to be specific to take out terrorists? Why have we not provided tech, to reduce corruption in public service? These are just a few areas to mention. So where are the critical interventions from the, tech, leading tech practitioners in this field to help us solve these daily problems?
Interesting. Unfortunately, like I'll say that again, the passion for tech in this country is very low, and until we get there, a lot of automation will not work. Unfortunately, again, most tech people, tech giants that are out there really want to come back home. They want to help, but they are also, the environment is not conducive for them, where you want to work 24/7, you want to put in your passion, the electricity is epileptic. So many things are not just working, and they just feel, what, there's no point putting in all my energy and I can't get results. You probably even bring out the solution and they say, oh no. You know how it is when they rather buy a solution outside the country than buy a local solution. So a lot of people are discouraged, and until we get there, until we start looking at tech internally and try to, develop our own AI and, ensure that we have it inclusive, I think we still have a long way to go.
There's a lot more conversation about this, apparently, but we must thank you for your perspective. Nilola Hadeyemi, founder, CEO, Secure Ops Solutions, LLC. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, when we return after this break, we will still be talking with women, and this time we're talking about food and food security. We're not done yet. Join us again.